What's up, Poppin' RC fans? In this video, we're going to be teaching you how to take your Mini Maxx from this to this. Okay, so all you're going to need to do this upgrade is 2 sets of these, 7461. The letter at the end determines the color. These are the black ones. They have red, blue, orange, green, pink even. So that will change depending on the color you get. 7444, these are the black springs. They come in different spring rates as well, so that number might change, but this is what I went with. A 2mm driver and some sort of pliers if you don't have shock tools. I lost mine, so I'm just going to be using these strippers. They'll do the job. So just go ahead and start by taking the shocks off. And just take note that the shorter screw goes on the bottom. So now you can set the truck to the side, and we're going to be working on these. So what we have to do here is remove these ball studs, or hollow balls, and put them in the new shocks because they're slightly longer than the stock Mini Maxx. And there's an extra flange on the end. But other than that, they're a direct drop-in. These are from the Slash, Stampede, Rustler, all those cars. They're aluminum bodied. The shafts are thicker, and they're actually the titanium coated ones. Not that that really does anything or matters, but the color's cool. They have the captured spring perches, which I like because you don't run into this happening all the time where it just kind of comes up and sits on top, and it's kind of annoying. In the last video you saw I bent one of these, so these aren't very sturdy, so these will do a better job. And they also come in cool colors. You're going to want to take your pliers or your shock tool. If you have a shock tool, use a shock tool. And you're going to want to pop this out from the side that does not have the large flange. They pop out pretty easily on these ones. The Mini Maxx is a little bit tougher, but just like that, they pop out. And that one went flying. So do that for all 4 or 2, depending on how many you're working on at a time. I tend to work on 2 shocks at a time, just to keep it a little simpler. And once you have those out, you're going to want to pop them out of the Mini Maxx shocks because you're going to reuse these for the new shocks. These don't have a larger flange on one side, so you can just pop them out from either side. These are slightly tougher to pop out for some reason, but they will come out. Like I said, this is a lot easier if you have the correct tool, but I lost mine. So we're making do. And this will also show you that if you don't have shock pliers, you can still get this job done. This is just how I do it. I'm sure there's better ways. I'm sure you'll tell me in the comments. But I've been doing it this way for years. And then I bought a shock tool. I lost it. So now I'm back to doing this. So once we have all 4 of those out, we're just going to place them in the new shock. Like I said, it doesn't matter which side because they're all the same. And then just push them on in. just like that. They pop in and out of these new shocks a lot easier. So I just want to put a little disclaimer before this next part of the video. The shock oil you're about to see go in the shocks, I don't recommend using. It's too heavy for these shocks with these black springs. The truck doesn't have enough weight to really make them work how they're supposed to. I took it out and it was honestly kind of driving like crap. It was kind of just bouncing all over the place. The suspension wasn't working. It wasn't doing its job. So I went out and I bought some 10 weight and 20 weight. I ended up putting the 10 weight in and it seemed to help it out quite a bit, but I still think these springs are too stiff for this truck because they're really made for the larger 1/10 scale vehicles. So I have softer ones on order, so we'll see how that does once I get them in. But yeah, I don't recommend using the oil that you're going to see in the next part. So once we have that all done, you're just going to take your shock, unscrew the cap, and we're going to fill it with oil. This is just the shock oil that comes in the shock kit. It doesn't actually say what weight it is, but I'm pretty sure it's 30 weight. You don't want to go too heavy on this truck because it's light. And you still want the shocks to do their job and work. So once you have it filled up most of the way, just going to give it a few little pumps. That was not enough. Big air bubble on the bottom of that one. Give it a few pumps up and down, let all those air bubbles come out. And then we're going to let that sit. Let all those air bubbles come out until you see it's clear fluid. You can see the air bubbles popping. Then once that's clear, I'm going to put the shock cap on, let some of that fluid come out through the bleed hole, clean it up, put the spring on, and she's ready to go in the truck. So now that this has had some time to sit, we're clear of air bubbles. Then you're going to want to compress this shaft about halfway and then screw this cap on. You see we have some fluid spilling out. That is okay, that's what we want. Make sure everything on the shock is tight. And then we're just going to run this all the way down and clean all that extra fluid up. So once you've got that all cleaned up, just go ahead, give it a few little pumps. Make sure everything feels nice. We got some rebound, which these are bladder style shocks, so they're going to do that. If you had an emulsion style shock, you do not want that piston or the shaft to come out on its own. So the rest is simple. You just slide the spring on, slide your perch on, and then you're going to put the screw that's included in this hole to keep it captured. Test it out. It should feel smooth. There shouldn't be any noises coming from it. If you hear noises, that means there's air in the shock, and then you're going to want to redo that process. Take the spring off, take the cap off. You will definitely see air in there. Put some more fluid in, let the air come out, and then just redo it. But they should be silent, just like this one. And this is ready to go in the truck. We're just going to repeat that and then put them on. Nice and smooth, no noise, which means there's no air. And now these are ready to go in the truck. So when you're putting these in the truck, I like to face this screw head away so it doesn't get filled with dirt. So just put that towards the back of the truck. So I recommend getting the bottom in first because it's super tight. Has to go like underneath the arm. It just barely fits. But it fits in there. You'll get it. So these can be pretty finicky. So just take your time. Don't get frustrated. It's a tight fit in the rear. Kind of got to get them in and then slide them over like that. And then you're just going to get the top in. And that's it. All 4 shocks are on. And it feels nice. Look at this. It looks like they designed this whole shock tower around these shocks. Because the adjuster, there's a little bump out for the tension adjuster here. I mean, it's super tight. There's no clearance in there. But nothing rubs, nothing binds. There's a lot more room on the front. But the rear is pretty tight. But yeah, that's it. Now you just adjust the tension to how you like it. And she's good to go. Now you have a shock upgrade. You should do a lot better. Everything on them is more beefy than these stock ones. These are pretty weak. I bent the shaft like it was nothing. I didn't even hit anything too hard. It just bent. So these should be way better. We've got some new batteries to test out. These are the SMC 2200s 3S. These fit perfectly in this tray. Now I'll show you. In case you're wondering what batteries fit in this truck, this is one of them. I love SMC batteries. I run them in all of my trucks. Been using them for years. I've had issues with some of them, but it's probably more due to driving style and setup than the batteries themselves. But yeah, fits in there like a glove. And you can order just about any connector you want on them. I stuck with the Traxxas because that's what's on here, and when I switch this out, that's a new video coming soon. I'm just gonna stay with the Traxxas connector on this truck, so I don't have to run adapters when I run the Traxxas batteries. It'll just be easier. But yeah, that's it for this video. Hope you liked it. Comment, subscribe, like, share, do whatever you do. And we got something else to test today. So this is gonna be a video coming up. We'll see you in the next one.